Hello everybody and welcome to the New Year's event here at the SimZone. It's the M6 versus M4 event at the Nürburgring. We join you from the qualifying session. We've still got about 7 minutes to go. As we can see an M6 pulling into the... So this is the M6 versus M4 event. So two different cars out on track, both of the German manufacturer. We'll see how they do against each other. It'll be pretty interesting to see the different levels of speed in comparison of the car. So it looks at the moment we've got D'Angelo at the top of the timings. I'm not too sure whether he's in a M4 or M6, but he's at the top of the standings, the number 11 car. We've got Totev, Sevcik and Flower to finish out the top four. Looking down the rest of the field, it looks pretty close between a lot of the drivers. And yes, it is an M4 that is at the top of the standings. So the M4 is looking pretty strong then in the opening stages of this qualifying session. But we do have an M6 there in 6th position, so it's good to see that. As we're now watching Corkery go around the track in the number 10 BMW. See how he does on this lap. Looks like he's backing off on his lap potentially, or is he? Yeah, I think he was, so maybe just resetting the car there. As we're looking further down the field, and a lot of the drivers are close. The top two are currently in the pit lane, so maybe adjusting the setup. Just waiting for maybe the track to reach a more optimal temperature as more drivers take their final laps. Just watching Picano at the moment, who's running in 11th position, the number 52 BMW M6. Maybe he'll try to improve his time, get further up the leaderboard at the moment. So just a quick comparison between the two cars then. The M6 GT3 car was originally released to compete in all GT3 homologated sports in 2016, and it's powered by a 4.4 litre V8 engine, which is of course very cool, and it's got 585 brake horsepower, so it's a beast nonetheless. But as I look at the M4 GT3, which was of course there doesn't seem to be anything about the M4, maybe because it's brand new. It's a 3 litre straight 6, that's all I can find out about it. So pretty different engines in comparison. I'm not sure if that's the actual GT3 engine, the 3 litre straight 6, but anyway, they're pretty close on track out at the moment. I think the two M4s are still leading the way at the moment in the standings. As we're watching another M6 go around the circuit now, he's just rounding out into the Mercedes arena, I believe that is, at the start of the lap. So see if he can improve his time. So currently watching the leader then, the current fastest lap setter. It is D'Angelo in the number 11 BMW M4. Seems to be rounding out his lap here. Let's see if he can improve his time. Looks like he's got a bit of traffic in front of him. I'm not sure if that, by the mini-map, it looks like that car is on an outlap. I'm not sure if D'Angelo is too, but he's just been replaced at the top of the timing sheet actually by Sevchik in the number 66 BMW, so it seems to be very close to the top of the standings at the moment. The number 66 car there. So the top three look pretty close at the moment. I do recognise the names Totev and Sevchik from the regular championship that we run here at SimZone. These two we know are very quick, so expect a lot from these two during the race. As we can see Totev now completing another lap. As he comes around forward curve here, then he seems to be applying the pressure. As we also watch Flower here in P4 as well, a sort of underdog sitting in fourth position, potentially may even take the fastest time here. I believe he is on a new lap as well. So we'll see what number 34 car can do throughout this qualifying session. We've got just over 20 seconds, just over 10 seconds to go in this qualifying session. So the laps that these drivers are on now will be the final lap. A lot of pressure to put in a good time. So hopefully no mistakes from any drivers out there. Looks like a lot of the field is into the pit lane, including the fastest time setter. So I think the number 66 BMW M4 is pretty comfortable with his time, as we're now watching Filippi in the number 7 car. The M6, I believe this is the highest currently placed M6, so we'll see how he can do on his lap as he's rounding out the lap now. He's in the second half of the circuit. You also see Totev pulling into the pits as well. So the top three are currently in the pit lane, so potentially this M6 could take pole position. It's just a matter of time to see. So he's rounding his lap then through the last chicane, and he'll round out the right hander for the final corner of the lap, and he heads onto the straight. And will he improve? Yes, he does, up to 5th position, so good time there from the German driver in the number 7 BMW M6. Very good lap there, so up to 5th position. As I believe most drivers have now finished their lap, as we are watching the 76 car. So a few cars out on track. It's the number 74 car. It's the BMW M6. This is Polyakov here. And Polyakov did improve, I think, up to 13th position there. So good time by him. So then, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the race. Sorry to have the silence there, my internet's playing a bit, but I can see the race now as we see the vast grid of BMWs, M6s and M4s heading down the straight and for their warm-up lap. The M4's looking pretty strong at the start of the race then. We've got, I think the top 4 are all M4s, so they've got a pretty strong barrier against the, I believe 5th place is also an M6, so pretty close then. As we can see the grid back there, so it's 4 M4s and then a single M6 just splitting the way. Very close between these guys then. It's great to see the different levels of car being so close to each other. So we're on board with the leader then. The fastest time setter just trying to get his tyres warmed up. It's a long wait on the grid to be stationary. I think it gets about 2 minutes in ACC to get your setup worked out, so it does tend to cool the tyres down a bit. But the current track temperature is 27 degrees, so I'm sure those tyres will get up to temperature very shortly. As we see then, he rounds out the Schumacher S's there. And he'll start to roll towards the line. So I'll just do a rundown of the top 10 while we wait for the cars to approach the start line. We've got Sevchik starting at the start of the at the head of the pack with number 66 M4. We then have the 3 other M4s of D'Angelo and Flower, and also the 4th placed BMW M4 of the 777 car in the M4 also. We have the first of the M6s in P5, the number 7 car, and we've also got the 77, the 49, the 32, the 10 and the 9 BMWs all lined up, ready to start the race, and let's see how they do. So they're now approaching the line. They're around out the final corner. So here we go then, the start of an hour-long race is about to begin. They're around out the final corner, all cars in formation, and watch out for that number 7 car in 5th position. See how he gets to start, because he's the top starting BMW M6 as they get away. It's the green flag then. It's to be a good start from the M4s at the front. All 3 of them. Sevchik has got a brilliant start, but he's being pressured by the 2 drivers behind him of D'Angelo and Flower. They're going to the first corner then. Looks like it's a number 34 car, a blue car going down the inside. It's almost 3 wide into the first corner then. These guys are incredibly close. But the 3 M4s almost in formation here, looks very menacing. All 4 of them off the line very well. They're rounding through, and I think Sevchik is still in the lead. He is indeed. As the BMW M6 there, as we can see further back, of Filippi has, I think, fallen down the order a slight bit. I think he's gone down to 6th position potentially, so it's incredibly close. Hard to keep track of what's going on here. It looks to be a relatively clean start then. I don't think there's been a single incident. All the cars seem to be in order, as Sevchik is actually already opening up a bit of a lead there from D'Angelo, the number 11 car. So Good start from the M4s actually. I think there's now top 5 cars are all M4s. As you can see the M6 here, just chasing that M4 just in front of him. Very close then for the Schumacher S's. Looks for a move upon the inside, but doesn't unfortunately get that done. It's being pressured by another M4 behind, the burgundy coloured M4. I believe that is off Michiel's, so the number 32 car also pressuring him. He needs to watch out for that. Old versus new here then. It's a shame ACC doesn't have the old BMW Z4. That would have been very cool to have a car as old as that here as well, but unfortunately just the M6 and the M4 in ACC at the moment. So still pretty close racing between these guys. I'm pretty sure a driver just went off at the back there. Not sure who that was through the chicane, but I'm sure they'll rejoin. The pack is already starting to get a bit spread out here, so a lot of battles and a lot of different packs are starting to open up at the moment. So you can see that Polyakov has set the fastest lap of the race, obviously the first lap, so happy to do the timing across the line, but nonetheless the number 74 car has the fastest lap, as we can see. Bit of a battle further back here between two M6s in a sandwich of M4s. Seems to be pretty close around the Mercedes arena here. Will he hold the line up on the inside? I think he does. So that is a Corkery there in the number 10 BMW M6, holding off the M4 of O'Mahony in the number 5 car. So very close between those guys. As we go back towards the front, it seems that D'Angelo has managed to catch back up to Sevchik at the front. So the number 66 car is now being pressured once again by the car behind. Looks to have the pace as well, does D'Angelo. He's closing very quick, and as you can see now up into the Schumacher S's, he's extremely close behind. Looks like Sevchik's almost putting out a bit of a gap there, but as you can see, the concertina effect as they go into the corner, D'Angelo closes in the gap massively once again. So the pressure is constantly being applied to the race leader at the moment. As they round out the final lap, and they're approaching the final chicane before they start their next lap. Here we go, and on to the next lap. Down the straight they go. Flower and Totev have sort of fallen off the back of these guys. As we can see, they are battling behind, so that may be the reason why these two are going at it. As Totev goes down the inside there, he might run wide and Flower might get a bit of a better run off the corner, but I think Totev has got that done because he's going to have the more ideal line as Flower dips a wheel into the grass there. So that was a good move there by Totev, getting through on Flower. And the top 4 drivers are still the M4s. I believe that there is now an M4 also in SIG position now. Yes, it is Michiel's, so I believe he is falling down here a bit, but he shouldn't be deterred. I think he can still get through the group as it is. The front guys are battling quite a lot at the moment, so a bit of an opportunity there for him. But he's still on the back of David Michiel's here. He seems to be applying the pressure still. So back towards the front then, it looks like there's a fastest lap sort of icon on both drivers at the moment. Not sure what that's about. Maybe they've set the exact same time. I wouldn't be surprised. They're incredibly close to each other. So these two then. D'Angelo still applying the pressure to Sevchik. As we round out the next lap then, into the chicane, I don't think D'Angelo is going to go for a move here. It's a very tight chicane and also very fast as well, so may not be the best place to overtake here, and he doesn't seem to do that. So they are going to round out the final corner then. Onto the next lap they go, and they've got a pretty decent gap now over the rest of the field. As we saw, I think that was Michiel's there going wild on the curb because Filippi has got through. So the number 7 car, the M6, the current leading M6, has managed to get through on one of the M4s, so He's picking his way back through the group again. We saw that he qualified P5, so we know the pace is there in that M6. As we can see, Mullard here being pressured by Burning behind him in number 9 car, so these two look pretty close at the moment. Looking further back, and we've got an M6 here, currently in 10th position. That is Bacano in the 52 car. He's holding off currently 2 M4s behind. The closest one, of course, is Brett Smith in the 85 car. These two incredibly close. Looks like Brett Smith's going to move to the outside there, get a bit of clean air under his bonnet, and potentially go for the move. It looks like he's going to go down the inside, a bit much on the grass there, but he seems to have got it done. But now the M4 behind him is also catching up as well of Beacon. But these two are incredibly close through the Schumacher S's. I think that Picano is going to have the better line through there, but once again you've got Brett Smith right behind with the inside look, but great driving there from Picano, manages to hold him off. As we can see, Beacon go a bit off wide in the background, so these guys are incredibly close, and all three of them, the M6 managed to hold off the 2 M4s, as once again Brett Smith looks down the inside. I think he may back off there. No, he's stuck in behind. I think there may have been a bit of contact there, so very close between these guys, as I say. And through the chicane, they're still close again, so these guys are having a relentless battle as they round out the lap. And let's see how they do down the straight. It'd be pretty interesting to see the differences here between the drivers. Back at the front again, we've got the 66 versus 11 car. Once again, these two incredibly close. It's interesting, the gap are opening up now from Totev and Flower. They're still pretty close behind them, but they're slightly falling away a bit. Slightly into the clutches of these guys behind. But we've still got Filippi here, defending off the M4s behind, and we've got Mullard there as well, defending from Burning. So these two once again very close. There's a lot of battles going on out on track at the moment. All very clean as well, no contact by the looks of things. So yeah, very good from these guys. There is a yellow flag out on track at the moment. Not sure why that is. Maybe somebody stopped on the track, but you can see this battle is still raging on as they round through Dunlop then and head back towards the Schumacher S's. Looking further back as well, this is that battle between the 2 M4s and the M6. I believe that the M6 has been demoted to P11 then, so I believe that would have been Brett Smith got through there. So these guys battling has resulted in the number 85 car getting to the front of his queue. So I think the next person to potentially overtake here will be Beacon. So Picano's been doing some great defending as the car was off track there. I'm not sure who that was. It looked to be, I don't really know who that was. Maybe they were a lap down, not too sure. We can see them on the side of the camera. It's an unidentified car, unfortunately. I'm not sure who that was. Looks to be a total sort of livery there. There we go. The number 188 car. So that's unfortunate for him. I think that was Min there. So unfortunate for him. So but back up front here, we've got the number 11 car. I think he's got the move done on Stevchik. So this is incredible here. So the number 11 car has somewhere got through on the number 66 then. So we saw that D'Angelo was applying the pressure throughout the whole start of the race after he initially fell back a bit. He managed to close up the gap again and was clearly showing his pace and has managed to get through on Stevchik. So the change in pace here to the race as we have just under 50 minutes left. 10 minutes gone and the grid order has already changed quite a bit. As you see them then from the aerial shot through the Schumacher S's, very close between these two still. It looks like D'Angelo is slightly opening up the gap here. Seems to have gained a bit of time then, as behind we can also see Totev, the 777 car, slowly gaining as he's also pulling ahead of Flower. M6 is still grounded in the gravel there, so that's unfortunate for him, but we can see these top four are very close. The M6 is still holding on in there as well in P6, the number 7 car. Still doing a good job holding off from Michels and Mullard. But he is currently chasing down Sahaja in the number 49 car. As they're rounding out the lap, looks like Michels is really applying the pressure there to the M6, the number 7 car of Filippi. Really feeling it now. He wants to go for a move on the 49 car ahead of him, but he just can't because Michels is right behind him, and if he made a small mistake, you know that M4 will be right there to pick up the pieces. So, yeah, incredibly close between these three so far. As they round out through the Mercedes arena, then they'll head on to the later stages of the lap. All three of them are still very close. And these two behind us, I don't forget about Mullard and Burning, currently having a small fight themselves, which I think they'll want to tone back on a bit. I think they are slightly catching the three drivers ahead, so maybe they'll work as the team here a bit and try to catch the three-car train in front of them. Looking further back as well, we've got this smaller battle here with the 52 car and the other M4s. I think this is still Beacon trying to overtake the M6. So the front two then. Looks like D'Angelo is still managing to hold off Sevchik behind. The gap has opened up a bit, but it's sort of neutralised as we get further into the race. It looks like as they start their next lap into the time between them. Maybe Sevchik has closed down the gap just a bit. So these two then still very close as they approach the latter half of the circuit. They're coming down towards the Dunlop hairpin here, so I think Sevchik is slightly closing in on him. It's hard to tell really between these two. I think maybe D'Angelo is faster at one part of the circuit and Sevchik at the other, but Sevchik does currently have the fastest lap, so it sort of does show that he's potentially gaining on D'Angelo just in front, so pretty close between these guys still. So we can see Sevchik running a bit wide there, so maybe the dirty air of the number 11 car just in front maybe causing the car just to drift out wide there. But in third position is still Totev. He's a bit of in no man's land at the moment. He's got Flower not really close to a lot of his guys. As we look further back, I think Michels has got through on Filippi, so the M4 prevails over the M6 then. As he's now also being pressured as Filippi by Mullard, so it's been a pretty heroic race so far for Filippi as he goes off wide. Maybe a bit of commentator's curse there. He loses 2 positions at the end of the lap. Hopefully he can regain them back. He needs to concentrate back again and focus on the cars in front. That's both Mullard and Burning who got past him there, so it's unfortunate there for Filippi. As I believe the next M4 is down in 13th, so they're still holding up pretty well. These three are still very close, so Filippi isn't doesn't seem to be losing any time, as Burning is still applying the pressure then, so maybe we have to get these two positions back if the drivers in front make a mistake potentially. The onboard footage then shows what as we head up then towards the set of S's, and then they'll round out their lap. Very close between these three. I believe the M6 is still holding on behind these guys of Filippi, the number 7 car, so it does look like D'Angelo has taken the fastest lap back again. I think it did go in the way of Sevchik earlier on, but looks like D'Angelo has took that back, as we can see on board from the M6, the number 7 car. They've fallen back a bit off the two M4s. Although they are battling, it seems that the M6 is struggling at this stage in the race. As they started in lap, then we've got the best seat in the house really from Filippi's point of view. He's watching the two British drivers in front of them battling away. I think they are catching some cars in front. I'm not sure if they are. I believe that is Michiel's and Sahaja. So those two haven't got away too much in this battling, which I imagine is an excited sight for the two M4 drivers. We're approaching the 40th minute then, we've still got 40 minutes to go. These, well, what's turning out to maybe eventually even be a 5-car train is heating up a bit here. The top 4 have got away pretty cleanly from these guys, but these guys are still battling very hard, as we can see from the M6's point of view now. They are closing in, these two M4s in front. Hopefully the M6 can stay them. As we see then the 5 all BMWs rounding out this lap then. It's getting incredibly close as we see I believe that was Burning just slightly going off wide, maybe opening up an invitation for the M6 just behind him, but it doesn't seem to affect him too much. He's still right behind Ben Mullard there in number 77 car. Incredibly close now. These three are still battling. The gap opened up a bit, and now as they go through the chicane, it's still pretty open. They round out the final corner then, so maybe lost a bit of time. But the two M4s in front of this 3-car train look a slight bit slower than the guys behind, so I think these three will catch them up in due time. So back at the front then, D'Angelo's got a pretty comfortable lead now over Sevchik. He's been putting in some pretty good lap times over the number 66 car. These two of course are incredibly fast, but just the gap opening up there, and Totev as well. Oh, and Flowers actually I think closed down the gap a bit. These two are sort of staying in the same sort of delta to each other. They're kind of just about equal in the time I think, and it's not too far behind where this what could become a 5-car battle is sort of brewing. Got Michiel's leading the way at the moment in his 5-car battle, but looks like a bit of the gap is opening up more between the drivers. down the group then, we've got the battle for 10th position here. We've got Luke Beacon trying to... It's now there as well in the number 13 car, so the 3 M4s now are through. It looks like Picano is slightly falling away in that M6, but still pretty interesting to watch. The battle for top 10 is getting a bit closer. Looking further down the group, and looks like the M6s are more towards the further parts of the grid. Still putting in some very good times from these guys. As we can see further back, we've got an M4 versus M6, both in factory colours it looks like here. Very close between these two, but maybe got the M4 down the inside there on the straight. Might have a bit more power. Yeah, so he does down the straight, then the M4 gets through. Back towards the front of the group, and the top 4 are still pretty comfortably ahead of the 5 further behind. Mullard is catching up to Sahadra there, so the number 77 car catching up to the 49. You can see the battle between the M4 and the M6. The leading M6 still fighting with the number 9 car. He's starting the back of that M4. He's falling away a bit. I think he's just clinging onto this group at the moment. But he's incredibly close, as I say. So it's around the next lap, and we're almost at the halfway mark for this race so far. Looks like the battles are slightly settling down. Top 9 are still pretty close to each other though. So around the Mercedes arena, will the M6 be able to make a move? I think he will. I think he's a bit too far back. Looking further down the group, we've got this another chain of M4s. This is Carl Van here, so he's been catching the 2 drivers in front of Beacon and Brett Smith quite a while, and I think he's just catching up to Beacon in front. Well, that might actually be a back marker. Not sure what that bloody black BMW is, but he has been catching up to him. Either way. Yeah, I believe that was Omar there in the 78 BMW he's catching up to. I think he had some issues earlier on in the race, so. Just looking through the group then, we can see the different positions of cars, how close they are. It looks like the M4s are currently outmatching the M6s at the moment. It's been a strong race from everybody so far here. Brett Smith is perhaps feeling the pressure a bit from Beacon behind him. These two look relatively close to each other. I think they've been closing in, but the M6, as I say, is still holding off. I think he got past there. So yeah, the M6 is back up into 8th position, and so there's a move somewhere by Philippi. Not sure if I caught it or not, but he got through then. So the number 7 car gets the better of the 9 car. As we can see, still see Mullard trying to get past Sahaja at the moment. I believe Michiel's got that job done a few laps ago, so looks like it's Mullard's turn. So these guys have had a bit of a gap open up between them, but they sort of broke off in 2 sets, as we can see from the rear wing of the number 49 BMW. The different lines are taking here, so Mullard will be on the offence here, and Sahadra will be on the defence, so perhaps different lines from each driver. Of course, equal machinery here, so it'll be very interesting to see how different drivers will take different lines throughout the course of the circuit. So we are approaching the half minute then, so we've got almost 30 minutes left of the race, halfway through so far. All drivers have been doing very well to keep it on track and keep it very clean. As we can still see this battle then, so Mullard seems to be closing in through the corner. And on the straight, it looks like it's pretty equal between these guys, as you'd expect. So yeah, still very close. I think both drivers have sort of been opening up the gap and closing the gap in different spots. But we can still see at the front then, it's still D'Angelo from Sevchik, from Totev from Flower. These guys are all still pretty close. And Michiels, I think, even might be catching them in the number 32 car. I think these guys are pretty close behind him still. Are the number 49 and 77 BMWs. They're pretty close behind, so. And he's still got his battle back here as well of Brett Smith and Beacon. I think Beacon is still closing on the back of Brett Smith. I believe that those two cars have been sort of closing up for the last few laps. Looks like Carl Van, I think, has dropped off the back of these guys a bit. I'm not sure if he's been gaining or losing, but he's no longer in shot, so I think he's fallen back a bit. But these two, of course, are still very close. Yeah, as we can see Carl Van there, so may have fallen back a bit. Back at the top then, it looks like Mullard is still challenging for that 6th position at the moment. Very close between these guys. Sahadra has been doing a great job of keeping him behind, and also managing to keep that gap just open enough to keep him a safe distance behind, so he can't go for an optimistic move into one corner. So great driving by both of these guys. Looks like further back as well, I think Felipe has opened up a bit of a gap to Burning as well, as you can see on the back there. So these four have got pretty equal gaps between them now. I think with a few laps maybe there'll be a bit of a change again, but they are pretty equal at the moment. As we've got a lot of drivers pitting then, so it looks like Totev has pulled into the pits, so has Michiels, and so has Smith further down, so I believe that'll be for their mandatory stop.
We are halfway through, keep pushing.
So there they are then. Interesting to see different strategies for different drivers here. Maybe the M6 will use up its tyres more than the M4, we'll have to see. You can see that actually the M6 of Felipe is closing down pretty quick on Ben Mullard here, so looks like a good pace has settled back in again from Felipe. Maybe he was taking a bit of a rest on the car, and he's now able to push the car once again, and it seems to be working because he is catching up to Ben Mullard as he's sort of fallen off the back of Sahadra as well. So it looks like D'Angelo and Sevchik have now pulled into the pit lane, so both of those drivers are pitting. A bit of a strategy call there maybe from Sevchik to pit at the same time as the car he's chasing, therefore to ensure that maybe as little time is lost as possible. It's got to take into account that some drivers may pit when under pressure, so maybe Mullard might pit from the pressure of Filippi at the moment because of maybe he's taking a more defensive line and losing time, or maybe he won't want to stay out to keep Filippi behind him, so he won't be able to overcut him in pit strategy. You can see the car's leaving the pit lane, and this is Sevchik pulling out just behind D'Angelo. Then pretty equal pit stops, I believe, between these two. But at the moment does promote, I believe, Lauer to the race lead, I think. Just temporarily until he does pull in himself. But we've still got this battle going on here between Mullard and Filippi. 77 car versus the 7 car then. Old versus new around the Nürburgring circuit here. Incredibly close between these two, and I sort of saw Mullard running a bit wide off the exit of that hairpin. It looks like the M6 does have the pace at the moment. Bit of a wobble over the curve there. Just a bit of time to the M4 just in front. Looks like Brett Smith has also got a drive-through as well, so the car that was running in 10th position seems to have a drive-through. I'm not sure if that was for track limits or for maybe pit stop time was too short, but either way he has a drive-through. I believe it would have been track limits because I don't think he's pitted yet, so that's unfortunate for Brett Smith. He was running a very good race, running in about 10th, so good race from him so far. It's unfortunate. So all the drivers are doing an incredible job so far tonight. As we see back at the front again, we've got this battle still going on. Neither of them have pitted yet. I don't think there is a set pit window, so drivers can pit, I believe, whenever they like. A strategy call from these guys. It is interesting between these two. He has been closing down the gap quite a while now. As we can see, V can also pulls into the pit lane, and so a lot of the drivers at the top are making their pit stops. Yep, these two as they go up into Schumacher S is still incredibly close. Filippi did an incredible job to keep on the back of that M4. As we can see further down, this is number 4 car of Viken. Yeah, he did just come out of the pit lane. He's got the car behind him. That is the, I believe that would be, I don't think that is on the same lap as him. I'm sure that car behind him is, I think with a pit strategy maybe that's a bit different. Oh yeah, sorry, that is Totev, so just behind car in front. These two very close. I don't think my timing sheet is quite updated, but we can see him go down the inside there. So that was Totev there. Brilliant move down the inside into the Dunlop hairpin here at Nürburgring. Incredible move down the inside. Moved them very well, so managed to overtake Beacon. I'm not sure if Beacon has pitted or not. Because I'm not sure why these two would be close to each other. Maybe the cows. I doubt he was over 30 seconds behind. But anyway, very clear move from Totev there. You look at moving back towards the pack. I don't believe he has lost position actually there, Totev, because he's also behind Michiel. So I'm not sure what happened to Totev, but there are still battles going out on track. Still got Filippi still applying the pressure as a back marker just lets him through there. But it looks like Mullard has managed to open up a bit of a gap then, so maybe the tyre wear is coming into play here with the M6 potentially. But Mullard has been putting in some very good consistent laps and has managed to get away again. But Sevchik then has been putting in a fastest lap as well. So all drivers at the moment putting in some brilliant lap times. Some drivers on old, some drivers on fresh tyres. He's currently making his way back through the grid in 6th position. But he is still running in 2nd position, net 2nd position, just behind D'Angelo. So yeah, very close. So we can see here the M6 of, I believe this is Sadlecki, is gaining on the car in front. I don't believe that, I'm not sure if that car is on the same lap as him, but I believe the car behind may be. Wish there was a way in ACC to tell what lap people are on, but no, I do believe he was a lap behind because he has just let the number 9 car, so I think that was burning there. So yeah, that was a car just a lap down. But we've got these two here, these two M6s of Clayton and Arat, the number 975 car and the 337. Both M6s battling it out. Good racing from these two so far. Rounding out the lap then. So focus on towards the top of the grid again. I think Mullard has pulled out a bit more comfortable gap now from the pressure of the M6 just behind of Filippi. So then Mullard has still yet to pit, so does Flower and Sahadjet. Top 4 still have yet to pit, so we'll see where that does place them. I think drivers will be approaching their eventual pitting time. We've just gone with 20 minutes left of the race. I think the drivers will eventually be wanting to pit, but you can still see the number 7 car here of Filippi. Really, he's sort of falling off the back of Mullard here. He's staying in a pretty comfortable range, but slightly falling off the back. We can see then as the M6 rounds out the lap. We've got some timing sheets at the top then, so we can now see the drivers that have pitted and haven't. So as I say, the top 4 still have yet to pit, and so do Carl Van and Picano. So that would be the second M6 running in 8th there. So maybe this shows that the M6 is potentially a bit nicer on its tyres, as 2 of the M6 drivers have managed to extend their tyre life out. So pretty interesting to see that. So watch that top 4 then. So the top 4 still have yet to pit, so we'll see how that affects the race results. There's no mandatory pit stop for this race. It's completely down to the driver's decision if they decide to pit. Maybe they'll split the fuel in two to get the best out of the car in 2 stints, or maybe they'll change the tyres so they can push the car more across 2 stints. Be interesting to see that. So if the driver, for example, as we see on track there, a bit of contact. I'm not sure what I think those 2 cars are lapped, so unfortunately a bit of contact there for Flower, but it seems to be okay. Both cars are all on track, so yeah, it's a bit difficult to try and unlap yourself with the same class of car, but unfortunately that's what happens in racing. So you can still look through the grid, but yeah, with the pit stops, drivers can choose to stop at their leisure. They're not forced to by a mandatory pit stop. But they are, obviously, it's down to them where they do put tyres on or don't. Riding on board for the 777 car, then the 777 car of Totev, catching back up to Michiels, and I think something happened to Totev off camera. I'm not sure what happened to him, but mistake somewhere because he was ahead of Michiels, but he's gaining once again. So good angle here from the M4 dashboard here. You can see that he's gaining. They approach the end of the lap then. See them coming to the chicane around that final corner. They approach the first corner of the next lap then. Looks like Carl Van has now jumped to pit lane, so he'll be the next person to pit. Still have Cano and the top 4 to pit then, so those 4 will have to pit sooner or later, but they will of course choose their own strategies. We can see these 2 still very close to each other, the 777 and the 32 car of Totev and Michiels. Looks like Totev is slightly closing down the lap. Of course, Totev was slightly higher up on the field at the start of the race, so it's like he is closing down the lap as they approach the Dunlop hairpin. They approach the final part of the Grand Prix circuit here then at the Nürburgring. They're getting pretty close to each other. It looks like Totev is looking for alternative ways around Michiels, applying a bit of pressure there to maybe force a mistake from Michiels at this stage in the race. We've just got under 15 minutes left, so this is the sort of business end of the race at the moment, where moves that are made now will count more so than they did previously. So we can see them from the rear view camera. You can see the bit of road that goes up towards the endurance Nordschleife section of the circuit, but we are at the GP circuit today, of course. You can also see Totev right behind them as we go down the start from this straight into the first corner. Close into the first corner. Looks like he's going to run wide, Michiels, so it looks like the M4 of Totev might get a bit of a better exit, but no, he's on the outside line, so Michiels can cover that off pretty solidly, but maybe another move. No, Totev's going to maintain that momentum. That's a smart decision there from Totev, so he'll stay close behind. Maybe the same move can be done the next lap. Of course, Totev at this stage in the race will be learning Michiels' lines and where he's going on the circuit at certain points. So he'll want to observe that a bit and then eventually make a move where he is best. So the top 4 then have still yet to pit, so has Picano. So those 5 drivers are really pushing the car to the maximum stint limit that they can really possibly get out of it. You can see Ben Millard there just approaching some traffic further back. Filippi has managed to hold that position as well. As we can see once again, Totev versus Michiels here, so be close between these guys. So they're rounding out their lap once again. Let's say maybe Totev will go for another lunge at the first corner. Pretty hard circuit to overtake for the most part. It's quite high speed. Is the Nürburgring, so it'd be hard to overtake in most parts of the circuit. But first corner is pretty open. You can see then as they go down the straight, like Totev might get a bit of draft from Michiels' car in front. You go for a move. I think he's going to sit behind. He is, yeah. So driving with conservation and from both of these drivers, looks like Michiels are going to run wide, but that's going to give him a bit of a better line to the inside. So, yeah, great driving from these two. Great defending as well from Michiels, placing the car exactly where it needs to. Part of me wonders if the top 5 are going to pit at the very last minute of the race, really get the most out of those tyres. I'm not sure if they would. As we can see there, the top 4 and Picano still have one stop to make. So it's incredibly close between these guys then. Be interesting to see where they do eventually filter out. If this battle is still going on here, that is Mullard catching back up to Sahaja. We saw earlier on in the race, Michiels managed to get through, but Mullard is still consolidating that position there. Still trying to catch up to him. I think he has over the course of the past few laps, but Sahaja has been excellent at defending and keeping that gap just open enough to not allow Mullard to make a move. So we can still see here, this is probably the closest battle out on track at the moment between these two. Got Mullard versus Hatcher here, both in 4 again, so equal machinery. Interesting to see how different drivers drive the same car at the moment. We've just got under 9 minutes, under 10 minutes left of the race then. So moves will become very crucial at this stage, and drivers will perhaps feel more pressure to make a move. You can see actually at this stage in the race, the track temperature has dropped a bit from what started at 27 to 24, so drivers will probably try to adapt their driving style. I doubt that a few degrees would make much difference, but perhaps they'll be trying to adapt just a bit to make them more stable. But these two have still been maintaining a pretty decent gap between them. This is what Sahaja did originally against Mullard for the original pit stops, as they opened up enough of a gap so a move couldn't really be achieved. But yeah, those 5 drivers still have yet to pit. The top 4 and Picano really pushing the tyre life to the edge. Maybe they won't even change tyres in the end, but Be interested to see that, as we can see Michelle's being pressured here once again by Totev, so incredibly close between these guys once again. So we come through the Mercedes arena, and the 777 car of Totev is still applying the pressure to Michelle's. They get incredibly close through the finishing stages of the tricky opening lap. You can see from on board once again, getting closer and closer to that burgundy coloured M4 just in front. 32 car maybe getting a bit more frantic now at the wheel to try and keep that car, 777 car, behind. As they come down into the Dunlop hairpin then. Oh, Michelle's gets a bit on the curb, forces him to get a bit wide of the exit there, but he does recover pretty well and stays ahead of the 777 car. And Macares is in very close and fast corner. That is incredible to see the cars go through there. They're now rounding out their lap. Just see a car from a distance from this onboard view. I'm not sure who that is. Looks to be a blue car, potentially an M6. I think it is Picano, yeah, so it is Picano. The car's still yet to pit, so these guys are going to catch up to him eventually. The first corner, then these two incredibly close. Totev runs a bit onto the curb, maybe to compromise there, just to he went on the brakes a bit, maybe too late. Just had to punch the curb to eventually avoid Michelle's in front. But it's incredibly close between these guys. They've been very clean as well so far, with just over 5 minutes to go over the race. Then still very interested to see when the top four are going to pit. They couldn't get very close, but they're sticking to it. So at the moment then, Flower still leads the way. But of course when the pit stops do happen, D'Angelo will be leading from Sevchik, so yeah, be interested to see where that ends up. So yeah, this is a 52 car, but so the M6 is being caught up by the two M4s behind. Cano still has yet to make a pit stop, so we'll see when he does that, but these two M4s have been catching up pretty quickly, and of course that M6 does not have to get out of the way. He's not a lap down. Of course he probably should, because it will lose him time to cars that he's actually racing against. But maybe this will cause Michelle some hurt here. But very close between these guys as they come through the chicane now. So yes, Cano does jump into the pit lane, and so with 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go, he does eventually pit. And down the straight they come once again. The two BMW M4s still battling away. These two, I've got to give them credit, they've been battling each other for a long time, as Totev now moves to the inside. He's been studying that line for quite a while now. He's now back on the inside line again. Brilliant move there. He's going to have the run as well, so they are side by side through the Mercedes arena. Once up on the inside again from Totev, but will Michelle's be able to hold it and keep that line? Looks like maybe a bit of contact there between the two of them, and it sent Michelle's just a bit off wide, so very close between these two. Almost DTM style overtake there with a bit of contact. Very interesting to see. There's a Mullard in P3 there. Flowers pulling into the pits. So as we're reaching the final 3 minutes of the race. Flower is pulling in. And also Picano did pull out in 9th position as well, so that's about M6 doing a brilliant stint to stay in the top 10. And this is also, I believe that's Suhaja and Filippi right behind as well, so it's just Mullard who's staying out then. Well, these guys have pitted, but Mullard is still out there, really pushing those tyres to the edge. I imagine they're hurting a bit now, but you can see these two still of Totev and Michiels. It'll be interesting to see whether these guys actually come out in relative to the guys who've just pitted. Of course, we know that Filippi and Sahaja were pretty close to these guys, so will their pit strategy have paid off? It looks like they're still in the pit lane. Sahaja's just pulling out now, so yeah, good pit strategy there from Sahaja. He's managed to stay ahead of Michiels and Totev. It's all that battling they were doing earlier on. I think it's lost them quite a bit of time. So then, D'Angelo's now up back into 2nd position. Probably wondering when the only not pitted car is going to pit, because he's got about 1 minute and 50 seconds left. So we can see Flower here has caught up a lot to Sevcik. So yeah, that long pit stint was really actually effective. I think it worked out pretty well because they wouldn't have to come out in traffic, because when they pit so late they wouldn't have to back market traffic. So these guys have pulled off a real good strategy here, and now Flower is fighting for what is 2nd position if Mullard does not come out next to these guys. So great to see this 34 car pulling off a brilliant strategy.
Right, man, leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
So yeah, Mullard is into the pit lane. So Mullard has dived into the pit lane. So he's actually going to be quite behind these guys. That was just coming across the line. Of course, there's quite a big gap, I think, between those two, so that's about right. But Mullard into the pit lane, and let's see where it comes out in relative to Michiels and Totev. Here is Totev and Michiels back there. There's a lot of things going on track at the moment. It looks like Flowers is also putting pressure on the M4 in front of Sevcik. Brilliant race so far by these guys. Very fast and great strategies from both of them as well. They've been doing very well to get their strategy sorted out. I suppose very tricky is the pit stop strategy in ICC. You have to do it yourself from a pop-up panel, and you have to pull into a very precise spot in the pit lane as well, so it's very easy to mess up, but these guys have done a great job out here today. As we can see, Flowers is still pressuring the leader as the clock has now counted down to its final, well, 0 time. No time is left of the race, of course. I believe that these guys are on the final lap because the leader is just ahead of them, so this is it. This is the final lap. This is Flowers' last chance to try and make the move. I'm sure he would have hoped that it would have crossed over before the timer did run out, but this is it. This is the last lap. I think he's going to do it. I think he's too far behind. I think Sevcik has done a pretty good job there. We can see then, rounding out the final corner, the number 11 car, D'Angelo. Great job from D'Angelo.
The leader has finished the race.
Brilliant off the line. Great move into the first corner. And the 2 cars behind, of course, the top 3 being D'Angelo, Sevcik and Flower. Flower pulling off a brilliant strategy there. Finished in the podium positions. We've also got Mullard in P4. Equally as great pit stop strategy. They didn't get to the last minute to pit. Really paid off for these guys. Great race there to finish P4. And just behind there is Sahaja finishing in P5. Great job as well from Mr. Sahaja, and an excellent job as well from the number 7 car in 6th position being Filippi. And of course, further down the group is Totev losing a bit of time, but still did a great job to finish in P7. Michiel's in P8, Deacon in P9, and of course Burning there in P10. So top 10 drivers done a great job in finishing where they did. Deacon then final out his lap. Brilliant P9 there for the BMW M4 driver. So as I do believe we have 2 M6s in the top 10. I think that's the result for the M6s really. Of course the outdated car, so great to see this as we see the final few cars running at the top. So that is the 10th placed M6, the 52 car of Picano, and also we have Carl Van there as well in the 13 car. Final few cars making their way across the line. Of course, we've got Brett Smith there. Unfortunate for him, had a drive-through penalty. Was running up there in the top 10. I'm sure he would have finished it there if he wouldn't have got that drive-through. But still a great race nonetheless. Watching the final few cars round out the lap then is Phil Benagel in the 279 car just coming through, and the other M4. So that is the end of the race. Great racing from all these guys tonight. Thank you to all the drivers for racing with us. And if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And please ring the bell for constant updates on SimZone action. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.